Peace, peace, Shabbat Shalom. Once again, another blessed Shabbat to be in the place of the Most High. Once again, being in front of people as always, as we always say, salutations and greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad. As the book says, to the Yahudim first, then to the nations. This word is for you. Last and not least, this gospel, this message, the word is for the poor. It's for those that are broken, those that hearts are crushed, spirits are crushed, have no hope. This word is for you. So I pray that this will be received with open ears and a heart that wants to be healed. Amen. You got to have a heart. You got to want your heart healed. Now, if you don't want it, can't do nothing for you. Okay? That's one thing about serving Yah is that he ain't going to force himself on you. You got to want to change. You got to want to grow. You got to want to go. Whatever it is, you got to want to do it. You got to want to do it. All right? Southern for you. You got to want to do it. He ain't going to make you do it. All right? So if you want to serve, as Yehoshua said, choose this day whom you're going to serve. Okay? You're going to serve the Elohim of your fathers on the other side of the river, or you're going to serve the Elohim of the Amorites in whose land you dwell now. But choose somebody. It's just me and my house. We're going to serve Yah. But anyway, we got a lot to go over. Part 2, in the body. Part 2, flesh of my flesh and bone of my bones. The efforts of man. The efforts of man. I got a picture here. Should have made it a little bit bigger, but in that space. But it's all good. Efforts of man. Look at the man. He's on his hands and knees. He's crawling in the sand. So, the people of Israel and humanity, we put a lot of our emphasis on who? Man. We put emphasis on man. For someone to help, for someone to do it for me. And when it all boils down to it, man can walk in the desert. And if he keep walking, at some point, he's going to be on all fours. At some point, the buzzards is flying around. At some point, he dehydrates. And this is who we depend on, unfortunately. We're going to get in the book here. But we depend on man, the efforts of man, and it's just useless. All right? So we can either depend on man, who if he has to walk through the Sahara Desert, he will be on all fours before the buzzards get him. Or we can depend on the one who can count the grain of sand. You can depend on the one who created the grain of sand. He can tell sand move, sand moves. Sand be water, sand turns to water. So, in the body, part 2, flesh of my flesh and bone of my bones, the efforts of man. We're going to look at some stuff. You want to know what it is about the efforts of man? It's not enough. Bottom line, look at the screen. Big old bold gold for you. Not enough. The efforts of men, not enough. So when we say efforts of men, that includes everybody in here. All right? Because you're an Adamite. In the body. As long as you're human. And that includes everybody in here. Okay. All right. Sound good. All right. Sound good. Not enough. Okay? The efforts of man is not enough. All right, let's quickly remember on the other side, all right, as we're making our journey to Shavuot or Pentecost, on the other side, we had some expectations, right? Right, should be expecting revival, but that 7th day, the celebration, the joy, right? The next thing you know, folks breaking bones and folks is sick. It's just all kind of stuff going on, right? Once again, Yah pulled you out. It was an act of war.
Hallelujah.
He pulled you out. It was an act of war. The body, the flesh, sin, looked at you, said you were treasonous. So what you leaving me for? Huh? Traitor, what you leaving me for? Remember how good you felt? You got to be all in me and do all you wanted to do? I ain't tell a soul. And now you're going to leave and talk about, I want to go to the light. The light pulled me out. I want to go to the light. Traitor. So on the other side, we got revival. Right? Something we all need. Wholeness. Healing, to be restored. Victory. Escaping. Momentum. Right? Carrying the momentum. Think about how you think about how you felt on Passover. Huh? How'd you feel? How'd you feel? Have you carried that momentum? Why? It ain't that you didn't want to, but you are at war. You are at war. Got to stop playing Uno when they playing chess. All right, and then we also talked about the revelation, the opening of the scriptures. Okay, we have to be on the same road as Messiah. Right? They were going in the right direction. He said, hey, won't you walk with us? Won't you come with us? You can't be walking nowhere that the Lord ain't. And expecting to walk with you. But he ain't going to eat at the table of Belial now. He ain't going to go to his house. And he ain't going to eat his food. So that was just I just wanted to make sure to keep that back, freshen that back in your mind. Okay, because I know sometimes we go over a lot of passages and a lot of things. And we got it's stuff that we need to remember. You got to hang on to it, okay? Because if the adversary doing his job, first part of his job is to keep you distracted, so you don't forgot. You forgot last week.
Come on.
You forgot 2 Shabbats ago.
Right.
You forgot 3 Shabbats ago. You forgot a month ago. You forgot. Okay? You know why you forgot? Because sometimes the word ain't important enough.
Come on.
For some you won't. You got a trip. You going somewhere you ain't gonna forget. Want to get to some event or somewhere you ain't forgot, right? It's in your planner book. 6 months in your planner book for 6 months. When it comes to word, we forgot the word last Shabbat. Forgot the topic on Torah study. Forgot your reflection. What you took out of it. You forgot. Somebody doing their job. Anyway, that ain't the point for today. We left off here. Okay? We left off here. What's that? Shmuel 19 and 12. Ye are my brethren. Ye are my bone and my flesh. Wherefore then should ye be the last to bring back the king? Ye are my brethren. You are my bone and my flesh. Sound familiar, right? Huh? Somebody give me Genesis 2 right quick. 2 and 24. Read up. Man say, look, man, I get it. I get a 10-minute break. I get 15. Look, I get 2 15-minute breaks and a full lunch.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Genesis 2 and 24. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh.
Go up to 23. I'm sorry.
Go up to 23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh.
Adam said what?
This is now bone of my bone.
Bone of my bone.
And flesh of my flesh.
And flesh of my flesh. So here we have in Shmuel 19 and 12. We have David repeating something very similar to what Adam said. David is not Adam, right? So why would he make a statement like that? What's the point of him saying that? What in the world is going on? Why would he say that? We know when Adam said it, it had so much meaning. Because the woman was taken from where? Taken from where?
Man.
How?
Deep sleep.
Taken what?
The great
Out.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 2 and 20. Genesis 2 and 20.
2 and 20. So Adam, no, that ain't what's 21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to man.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Yeah.
And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man.
Taken where?
Out of man.
Out of man. So if Adam is the first man, right? Well, that means Christ is the second man. And the second man is going to be married. Correct? So if what for everything happened aforetime is written for my learning, and that through the comfort and patience of the scriptures we might have what? Oh. So if I am to be united to Messiah, I know for a fact that I got to go in, because the first woman was taken out. All things will be brought unto himself. He's going to present the church to himself. So he going to get her ready, wash her, and bring her to himself. Well, the first woman was prepared and made physically and was taken out of the man. But there was flaws in that man. It's all said and done. We suffer them same flaws today. But anyway, that's where we just a quick review from last week. So you are my brethren, you are bones of my bone and flesh of my flesh. Well, you are my bone and my flesh. Wherefore there should ye be last to bring the king back. Okay. All right. Reader, I need 2 readers, and y'all can fight for it. 2 Samuel 19, 1 through 13, and then 2 Samuel 19, 14 through 43. He jumped out there quick. Go ahead, brother. 2 Samuel 19, 1 through 13. Whoever reads the second one, that's a lot of verses, so just make sure you're crisp and clear. Whoever's throat's good can read it efficiently. Okay. All right, 2 Samuel 19, 1 through 13. Go ahead, brother.
And it was reported to Joab. See, the sovereign is weeping and mourning for Absalom. So the deliverance that day was turned into mourning for all the people. For the people heard on that day, saying, the sovereign has been grieved for his son. And the people stole back the city in that day. Stole back into the city that day, as people who are ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. And the sovereign covered his face, and the sovereign cried out with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came into the house to the sovereign and said, today you have put to shame all your servants who today have saved your life.
Hold on right there. He walked in, he said, man, pick your face up. He said, get yourself. He said, get yourself together. Go ahead.
And the lives of your sons and daughters, and the lives of your wives, and the lives of your concubines, by loving those who hate you, and by hating those who love you.
Say it again now.
By loving those who hate you, and by hating those who love you.
Now, brother, I want you to read that one more time. I want y'all to pay attention to what he's about to say. Slowly, read that first part again.
By loving those who hate you.
By loving those who hate you. Now, we have the general talking to the king, talking to David or David. And he's saying, hey, you love those who hate you. Just put that in the back of your mind. If you were there in a Bible study, put that in your heart. Put that in your mind. Go ahead, brother.
For you have made it clear today that you have neither commanders nor servants. For today I know that if Absalom had lived and all of us had died today, then it would be right in your eyes. And now, arise, go out, and speak to the heart of your servants. For I swear by Yah, if you do not go out, not one passes the night with you. And this is worse for you than all the evil that has come upon you from your youth until today. So the sovereign rose up and sat in the gate. And they told all the people, saying, look, the sovereign is sitting in the gate. And all the people came before the sovereign. As for Israel, they had fled, each one to his tent.
As for who?
Israel.
They did what?
Fled.
Okay.
And it came to be that all the people were contending throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, the sovereign delivered us from the hand of the enemies. He rescued us from the hand of the Philistines, and now has fled from the land because of Absalom.
Who made that statement again?
Israel.
You hear that? Israel said that. So that means we will be talking not about just Judah and Benjamin and Levi. We will be talking about the 10 northern tribes. Go ahead.
And Absalom, who we anointed over us, has died in battle. And now, why are you silent about bringing back the sovereign? And sovereign David sent to Sadok and to Abiathar the priest, saying, speak to the elders of Yehudah, saying, why are you the last to bring the sovereign back to his house?
Why are you what?
The last to bring the sovereign back to his house.
To bring him where?
Back to his house.
Back to his house. Go ahead.
Since the words of all Israel have come to the sovereign, to his house, you are my brothers. Do I need to keep going? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You are my bone and my flesh. Why then are you the last to bring back the sovereign?
Have mercy.
And say to Amsa, are you not my bone and my flesh? Elohim, do so to me, and more also, if you are not commander of the army before me all the days in place of Joab.
Okay. So we get a little bit more context. We got a lot of drama going on, don't we? We got a lot of stuff going on. And David makes a profound statement. His son is gone. He's in disarray. He's not back at his house. He's not back. He has to be escorted back. Israel is disarray. Judah, there's contention within the David's within the people of Judah. So hey, ain't y'all bones? Y'all my bones, y'all my flesh. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, we're gonna bring some clarity. All right, next reader. Go ahead.
He went over the hearts of all the men of Judah as though they were one man. They sent word to the king, return you and all your men. Then the king returned and went as far as the Jordan. Now the men of Judah had come to Gilgal to go out and meet the king.
To go out and do what?
Meet the king.
To meet the who?
The king. And bring him across the Jordan.
And do what?
Bring him across the Jordan.
So the people had to go meet the king and then go with the king. Just keep these little nuggets. Go ahead.
Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjamite from Bahurim, hurried down with the men of Judah to meet King David. With him were 1,000 Benjamites, along with Ziba, the steward of Saul's household, and his 15 sons and 20 servants. They rushed to the Jordan where the king was. They crossed at the ford to take the king's household over and do whatever he wished. When Shimei, son of Gera, crossed the Jordan, he fell prostrate before the king and said to him, may my Lord not hold me guilty.
Say what?
May my Lord not hold me guilty. Do not remember how your servant did wrong on the day my Lord the king left Jerusalem.
Say that one more time.
Do not remember how your servant did wrong on the day my Lord the king left Jerusalem. May the king put it out of his mind. For I, your servant, know that I have sinned.
I have done what?
Sinned.
I have what?
Sinned. But today I have come here as the first of the whole house of Joseph.
Of who?
The whole house of Joseph. To come down and meet my Lord the king. Then Abishai, son of Zeruiah, said, shouldn't Shimei be put to death for this?
Shouldn't he be what?
Put to death for this?
Now remember this morning in class when we were reading in Leviticus and of certain things, and it's not the same topic, but on certain things you were to be put to death. Okay? So we have one of David's men saying, hey man, this dude is worthy, he should be dead. Right? He's weighing out the matter. And he said the matter is death. Okay, go ahead and read.
Shouldn't Shimei be put to death for this? He cursed the Lord's anointed.
He cursed who?
The Lord's anointed. David replied, what do you and I have in common? You sons of Zeruiah, this day you have become my adversaries. Should anyone be put to death in Israel today? Do I not know that today I am king over Israel?
I am the what?
King over Israel.
Over who?
Israel. So the king said to Shimei, you shall not die. And the king promised him
what the king say?
"You shall not die." And the king promised him an oath. Mephibosheth, Saul's grandson, also went down to meet the king. He had not taken care of his feet or trimmed his mustache or washed his clothes from the day the king left until the day he returned safely.
Today he did what?
He left to the day he returned safely.
Till the king came back safely.
When he came from Jerusalem to meet the king asked him, "Why didn't you go with me?" Mephibosheth. He said, "My lord, the king, since I, your servant, am lame, I said, I will have my donkey saddled and will ride on it so I can go with the king. But Ziba, my servant, betrayed me. And he has slandered your servant to my lord the king. My lord the king is like an angel of God, so do whatever pleases you."
He said, "My lord the king is what?"
Like an angel of God.
One more time.
An angel of God.
Go ahead.
"So do whatever pleases you. All my grandfather's descendants deserved nothing but death from my lord the king. But you gave your servant a place among those who eat at your table. So what right do I have to make any more appeals to the king?"
Stop right there. This is going to be real plain in about 15 minutes or so. But whatsoever things were written aforetime is written for your learning. Okay, go ahead.
The king said to him, "Why say more? I order you and Ziba to divide the fields." Mephibosheth said to the king, "Let him take everything, now that my lord the king has arrived home safely." Barzillai, the Gileadite, also came down from Rogelim to cross the Jordan with the king and to send him on his way from there. Now Barzillai was an older man, 80 years of age. He had provided for the king during his stay in Mahanaim, for he was a very wealthy man. The king said to Barzillai, "Cross over with me and stay with me in Jerusalem, and I will provide for you." But Barzillai answered the king, "How many more years will I live that I should go up to Jerusalem with the king? I am now 80 years old. Can I tell the difference between what is good and what is not? Can your servant taste what he eats and drinks? Can I still hear the voice of men and women singers? Why should your servant be an added burden to my lord the king? Your servant will cross over the Jordan with the king for a short distance, but why should the king reward me in this way? Let your servant return, that I may die in my own town, near the tomb of my father and mother. But here is your servant Kimham. Let him cross over with my lord the king. Do for him whatever pleases you." The king said, "Kimham shall cross over with me, and I will do for him whatever pleases you. And anything you desire from me, I will do for you." So all the people crossed the Jordan, and then the king crossed over. The king kissed Barzillai and gave him his blessing, and Barzillai returned to his home. When the king crossed over to Gilgal, Kimham crossed over with him.
Kimham was the right place, right time, wasn't it? Huh? Grace, go ahead.
All the troops of Judah and half the troops of Israel had
all the who?
Troops of Judah and half the troops of Israel.
And how many of Israel?
Half the troops.
How many?
Half.
Not whole, but half. Go ahead.
Had taken the king over. Soon all the men of Israel were coming to the king and saying to him.
Who?
All the men of Israel.
How many?
All.
Okay.
Why did our brothers, the men of Judah, steal the king away and bring him and his household across the Jordan?
Stop right there for a second. Are you seeing this picture? The king is going back to his home. Got the people Yehuda with him. You got half of Israel with him. Now you got a large chunk of Israel coming. They're not coming in a friendly gesture, right? They're like, "Hey man, what's up?" Please pay attention to the dialogue. Go ahead.
Why did our brothers, the men of Judah, steal the king away and bring him and all his household across the Jordan together with all his men? All the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, We did this because the king is closely related to us.
The king is what?
Closely related to us. Why are you angry about it?
Why are you what?
Angry about it.
So they weren't happy. They weren't joking around. They came over there with some, hey man, what y'all doing? Go ahead.
Have we eaten any of the king's provisions? Have we taken anything for ourselves? Then the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, we have 10 shares in the king, and besides, we have a greater claim on David than you have. So
stop right there. Do we hear this fighting? They said, well, man, what you taking the king for? I said, man, the king is our close kin. He a Yehudi. What you mean? We're going back where we come. We're going back to our allotted territory. What you mean? We going back. Well, and they said, well, we got 10 parts in David. Go ahead.
So why do you treat us with contempt?
Why do you what?
Treat us with contempt. Were we not the first to speak of bringing back our king? But the men of Judah responded even more harshly than the men of Israel.
Now, I forgot to put on here. I'm gonna read the second, because I know your thorax and your esophagus is probably a little wore out. Okay? So, all right, we're gonna continue in Second Shmuel or 2 Samuel, the 20th chapter. And there happened to be there a man of Belial whose name was Sheba, the son of Berechiah, a Benjaminite, and he blew a trumpet and said, we have no part in David. We have no part in David. We have no part in David. Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Pay attention. Every man to his tents, O Israel. So every man of Israel went up from after David and followed after Sheba, the son of Berechiah. But the men of Judah clave unto their king from Jordan, even unto Jerusalem. Interesting. So what in the world's going on? What in the world is going on here? It should be good. It should be a good thing, right? David's getting back, going back, and that's some reunited and it feels so, But that's not really what's. It's really when you read it, it's like, well, there's a lot of infighting. So what's going on here? So we're going to start with this person here. Who is this? Y'all gonna learn it.
Absalom.
Avishalom. Yeah. And you stuffed up.
I was trying to.
So Avishalom, which is who? Absalom. Okay, Absalom. So in order to understand what we just read in 2 Samuel, the 19th chapter, there's a lot of information. Okay. So in order to understand that, we got to pull some of these characters out, or people out. His name is My Father is Peace. We've talked about this before. Okay, Absalom, Avishalom, My Father is Peace. He's the third son of King David. He led the revolt, and he swayed the kingdom's support. If you go back to about 2 Samuel 16 and 17, Absalom was real slick. How he got to man, and David gone. If I was the king, I would do like this, brother. If I was the king, you wouldn't have none of them problems you got. If I was the king, sister, you wouldn't have none of them problems. Little man, if I was the king, you just don't know how good it would be. And that's how Absalom was able to sway the people, a lot of the people. Okay, so this is one guy we need to look at here. Okay, all right. Guy number 2. Who is that? Amasa or Amasa. 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 And Amasa, his name means burden. David's nephew. He was also the general of Absalom's army. So when we look at 2 Samuel 19 and 13, he said, and say ye to Amasa, art thou not of my bone, of my flesh? but he was the general of Absalom's army. So David is doing something. He's like, hey, man, I know you're trying to kill me. If you'd have caught me anywhere in the fields or in the cave of Israel, you was going to kill me. David's response is, when it's all said and done, are you not my bone, are you not my flesh? We're going to get deep today. The child root is amas. Okay? Load, laid, born, or born like bearing something, and burden. Okay? This is guy number 2. Okay? Who is this guy? Shimmy, yes. Shimmy. It reminds me of Arsenio Hall on Coming to America. When his name in Coming to America, Shimmy. And I think it was, what his name Shimmy? I think his name was Shimmy. So every time I see it, I just see Arsenio. I think it's not. Check it out. Arsenio Hall. I think so. Shimmy, Simi. I think it was Simi. Anyway, so his name means renowned, talked about, known, famous. This is the one that cursed King David. So we have 3 people in this chapter that all meant David or King David harm. There was a phrase in the Psalms, and it's called that you hated me without a what?
Cause.
You won't believe what happened to your master, your Redeemer. When he walked the face of this earth, he was hated without a what? Okay. We're going to start connecting dots. So, this is the one, when he rolled up on David and apologized, he said, man, I apologize. I was tripping. I was tripping on how I treated you. And one of the David's mighty men said, kill him where he stand. He said, kill him where he stand. Now look, David got a track record, don't he? Remember when Shaul was still king and David had not taken the throne yet? Mm-hmm. And remember that Shaul died in battle, him and his son, the Philistines, and wasn't it one of who was Shaul's armor bearer? And he said, hey man, finish me off. He's like, no, my king. He said, man, I'd rather be finished off this way than to do it. So he did it. And remember, he told David.
David killed him.
And what did David? He said, you got the gall to come up here and tell me that? Kill him.
Right now.
Not him, brother. Kill him.
What he said.
So now we have David in a different scenario. Same guy come up. He said, man, ain't nobody going to die today. What'd he say? I'm the king of what? Israel. Nobody dying today. 2 Samuel 18, we'll go back a chapter. 2 Samuel 18. 2 Samuel 18:1, and it reads, and David numbered the people that were with him and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. David sent forth a third part of the people under the hand of Joab, the third part under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, and Joab's brother, and the third part under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said unto the people, I will surely go forth with you by myself also. But the people answered and said, thou shalt not go forth, for if we flee away, they will not care for us, neither if half us die, will they care for us. But now thou art worth 10,000 of us. Therefore now it is better that thou succor us out of the city. And the king said unto them, what seemeth best to you I will do. And the king stood by the gate side, and all the people came out by hundreds and by thousands. So this is for real. Like David, if we get out here, man, like they're gonna they're going to kill you. And we cannot lose you. The first time they told him this, they would know he was a fighting man. Okay? And the king commanded Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, deal gently for my sake with the young man, even with Absalom. Can you imagine the generals? It's like, man, we out here in the buck country woods, running and hiding and ducking and dodging because of Absalom. Oh, when I see him, I'm putting them things on. I'm sure when he said it, they was like walking. He said, be gentle with my son. Yes, king. I'm pretty sure. Be gentle with my son, please, my son. Yes, king. They probably got better. First one, get him. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains charge concerning, so everybody knew. So the people went out into the field against Israel. Against who?
Israel.
Against who?
Israel.
Against who?
Israel.
And the battle was in the wood of Ephraim. So David done ran. They done left all the way from Jerusalem. They all the way in the country of Ephraim. Long way. And the people of Israel were slain before the servants of David, and there was a great slaughter that day of 20,000 men. For the battle was there scattered all over the face of the country, and the wood devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. And Absalom met the servants of David, and Absalom rode upon a mule, and the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak. Now, Absalom's on a mule. Didn't somebody else have to ride on a mule?
Yeshua.
Yeshua. Who else? And there's a person.
Balaam.
Well, a king.
Oh, Balak. And Balaam.
A king of, very close king to David.
Shaul.
After
Solomon.
Solomon. He had to ride on a mule. David's on his deathbed. You got one of his sons. He ride on David's horse. He said, put my son on my mule. And then how did Yeshua come in? He came in on a lowly, meek, on a... So now we got Absalom. Remember, my father is peace. Absalom rode upon a mule, and the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak, and his head caught hair of the oak, and he was taken up between the heaven and the earth. He was sitting there hanging. He was hanging it by the woods, like hanging on a tree, almost. Suspended in air. See, Yahshua, he'll say something. He'll say something like, look, man, when it's the scriptures, it's talking about who? Me. I don't care if it's a good guy. I don't care if it's a bad guy. You're going to find a connection to me. The book said clearly he was hanging up between what? The heaven and the earth. Now, there was a situation that happened in the wilderness, wasn't it? People got bit by some serpents, right? And then you had to take the brazen serpent, you had to do what? Hold it up. And then to him you look onto, you get healed. But he had to be lifted up in the expansion between heaven and... But see, Yahshua said the Son of Man shall be lifted what?
No.
So you got somebody whose name is my Father is peace. Hanging up, hair stuck in a tree. Just hanging there. And he said, that's what, hey, look, this book is about me now. Everything in here is about him. So he was stuck up between heaven and earth, and the mule that was under him went away. The mule said, holler. And a certain man saw it and told Joab. No, look, Joab been with David for a long time. Good, bad, ugly. David dirt. David mighty victories. David under the tables. He been with David for a long time. Long time. Certain man saw it and told Joab. You know his eyes lit up. And behold, I saw Absalom hanged in the oak. His fro or his dreads, whatever, got stuck up in something. Whatever he had. Nappy hair got stuck up in there.
Yes, it did.
And Joab said unto the man that told him, and behold, thou sawest him, why didst thou not smite him there to the ground? Joab said, why didn't you kill him? He said, and I would have given thee 10 shekels of silver in a girdle. The man said to Joab, though I should receive 1,000 shekels of silver in my hand, yet would I not put forth my hand against the king's son. For in our hearing the king charged thee, and Abishai and Ittai, saying, beware that thou none touch the young man Absalom. Otherwise I should have wrought falsehood against mine own life. For there is no matter hid from the king. There is no matter hid from the king. Remember, when everything's written aforetime, it's written for your learning. Ain't the beginning of, look, what we talk about in Bible study, what was that? Somebody give me Jeremiah 17 right quick, please. I mean, no, not you, baby. I know you. Somebody give me Jeremiah 17. What, 17:7? I think 17:7. 17:9, I'll pull up. Give me Jeremiah 17:9.
The heart is crooked.
The heart is what?
Crooked. Above all, and desperately sick.
Right.
Who shall know it?
Go ahead, 10.
Go ahead and 10, brother.
I, Yah, search the heart.
He searched the who?
Heart.
He said, Yah searched the heart. That's what the brother just said. But we have here this young man saying that, look, man, he said, no matter is hid from the king. Read it again.
I, Yah, search the heart.
Go ahead.
I try the kidneys. And give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds.
Now, if he's saying this about an earthly king, what about that great king? He said, man, look. He said, no, I ain't going to kill him. Ain't no matter here from the king. Are you crazy? Verse 14. Then said Joab, I may not tarry thus with thee. And he took 3 darts in his hand and thrust them through the heart of Absalom while he was yet alive in the midst of the oak. And 10 young men that bare Joab's armor compassed about him and smote Absalom and slew him. Jumped. And Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing after Israel, for Joab held back the people. And they took Absalom and cast him into a great pit in the wood and laid a very great heap of stones upon him. And all Israel went to one tent. Okay, so when we read this, we see that we have fighting amidst the body. Okay, or Israel, we have fighting. Fighting amidst the body. Fighting amidst Israel. Okay, let's turn to Romans 11. Romans 11. Because right now we're not talking about outside interference. We're just talking about within Israel or within the body. They were fighting here in Romans 11 and 13. It reads, For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify my office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation to them which are my flesh. Right? Sound familiar, right? David was talking to a mouse. You're not my bone, you're not my flesh. And might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, if the cast away of them be the reconciling of the world, if their casting away is the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead. If the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. If the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and were then partakes of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches. But if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off. And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. Remember the dialogue between the people of Israel and the people of Judah over David. Where are you going with our king? So they say, he my king. Said, well, we got part of him too. We got 10 parts in him. He said, they said, well, he's our near kin. So think of that dialogue. And then look at what Shaul is saying. If you're a natural branch, you are a natural Israelite, you've been broken. And if a wild olive branch is grafted in, wild olive branch don't boast against a natural branch. You're one. We just read a whole chapter. It should be a celebration. The king's going back. They say, hey, well, you taking our king. We taking my king. They're saying our, we're saying it's my king. He said, no, it's our king. We got 10 parts. He our bloodline. Uh-oh. That's stuff we hear today, don't we? My bloodline. Who your father is. Your tribe, your DNA. Shaul said, boast not against the branches. Verse 21, for if God spare not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not thee. So we're talking about branches and the root. It's a symbolism, right? Like the body. Because the body is many what? Members. Right? And one part of the body can't be at war with the other part of the body. Huh? But we see that though, don't we? We see it in this scripture. We see it in the life that we live right now. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of God on them which fell. Severity, but toward thee, goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou shalt also be cut off. That's why we made a statement earlier about all the different religions and groups, from Christianity to Judaism to the different Messianics, the different all the different people that can attest to this book, with the exception of probably Islam, because they have their own God, right? It's Allah, which is not Yah. So we have all this fighting. Now on the same page. Have all this fighting within your own little group. Whether you're a Christian or you're in Judaism or you're Messianic or Torah observant or Hebrew Israelite or whatever. I know, that's right. Listen, that Scooby-Doo it then, huh? That's I know, girl, that's true. That's real true. Verse 23, and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. God is able to graft them in again. For if thou were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness is in part is happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And so shall all Israel be saved. All Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. I shall take away their sins. Didn't David say something that was pretty unique to somebody? He said, man, I've what? Amasa wrote up on him and said, man, I sinned. Or Shimei said, man, I sinned. He said, your sins are forgiven. Oh, okay. The light bulb clicked on then. The light bulb clicked on then. Somebody give me a 1 Corinthians 11:1. Somebody else give me Acts 7:25-27. 1 Corinthians 1:11. And somebody give me Acts 7:25-27.
For I have been informed concerning you, my brothers, by those of the house of Chloe, that there are stripes among you.
That there's what?
Stripes among you.
So these folks ain't getting along, huh? These folks fighting. Getting into it. Getting mad over domino game. Huh? You owe me this. You owe me. So there's stuff that's going on. Keep on.
What I mean is this, that each one of you says, I am of Shaul, or I am of Apollos, or I am of Kepha, or I am of Messiah.
So people are doing what? People are attaching themselves to what? Man. People are attaching themselves to Cephas. Shaul. Shaul can't, he can't save you. Cephas can't save you. They're just messengers. That's good, brother. Who got Acts 27:25-27?
I got it. You said chapter 7. Okay. For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that Elohim by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove.
As they did what?
As they strove.
As they strove against each other?
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
And would have set them at one again, saying, Sirs, ye are brethren, why do you wrong one to another?
But he that did his neighbor wrong. But he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away, saying, Who made you a ruler and a judge over us?
Stop right there. Who made thee a ruler and judge? And they're recapping Moshe in Egypt. While the two Israelites were what? Fighting against each other. So we're looking at fighting. That was 25 through 27. So we're looking at fighting in the body. Fighting within Israel. This was going on in David's time. Going on in Moses' time. Going on with Brother Aaron just read when they were over in the congregations and assemblies in Corinth. Problems within the body. Okay? Remember on the screen, 1 Corinthians 12, for the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, am I not of the body? Think about what we just read in 2 Samuel 19. Think about what brother just read in 2 Corinthians 1. Acts 7, what she just read, talking about Moses and them fighting, and they said, who made you a judge and a ruler over us? I said, man, apparently they didn't know what they were saying. Because Yah made them a judge and a ruler over them. And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, am I not of the body? Is that not what Judah said to Israel? He said, hey, where you going with our king? He said, my king. He said, we got 10 parts of David. He said, man, he our brother. We got the same bloodline. Am I not of the body? Is it therefore not of the body? Let's go down to 20. But now there are many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee. So there cannot be civil strife within the body of Mashiach. Now put a little more emphasis on loving your neighbor, don't it? Nor again the head to the feet. I have no need of you. All right, so let's turn back to 2 Samuel. Second Samuel 19. Be in verse 16. So we're going to look at something that David said here. We're going to look at this closely. And Shimei, the son of Gera, the Benjaminite, which was of Bahurim, hastened and came down with the men of Judah to meet the king, and there were thousands of men of Benjamin with him. And Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons and his 20 servants with him, they went over Jordan before the king. And they went over a ferry boat to carry the king's household and to do what he thought good. And Shimei, the son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was come over Jordan, and said to the king, let not my lord impute iniquity on me. Neither do thou remember that which thy servant did perversely in the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. For I, the servant, doth know that I have sinned. I've sinned against you. Behold, I am come the first day of all the house of Joseph, right, representing Israel, to go down to meet my lord the king. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, answered and said, shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed? Somebody, brother, give me Mark 2, 1 through 11. Somebody else give me Luke 5 and 24.
I'll get Luke.
And some days later, he again entered into Capernaum. And it was heard that he was in the house. And so many gathered together that there was no more room, not even at the door. And he spoke the word to them. And they carried to him, bringing a paralytic, carried by 4. And not being able to come near him because of the crowd, they uncovered the roof where he was. And when they had broken through, they let down the bed on which the paralytic was laying. Paralytic. And when Yeshua saw their belief, he said to the paralytic, son, your sins are forgiven.
Son, what?
Son, your sins are forgiven.
Your what?
Your sins are forgiven.
Who said this?
Yeshua.
Okay, go ahead.
Now some of the scribes were sitting there and reasoning in their hearts.
Reasoning where?
In their hearts.
And then we talk about during Bible study that where your treasure, what?
Where your heart is, your treasure.
Where your heart is, your treasure is also. They reason where?
In their hearts.
Go ahead.
Why does this one talk like this? He is blaspheming.
What?
Who is able to forgive sins but Elohim alone?
Who is able to do what?
Forgive sins but Elohim alone.
Hold there right there. I'm going to pick up in verse 22 in Samuel 19. And David said, what have I to do with you, sons of Zeruiah, that you should be this day adversaries unto me? Shall there no man be put to death? No man shall be put to death. No man shall be put to death. For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel? So David did what? He forgave sin. Read that last part again.
Who was able to forgive sins?
Who was able to forgive sins? And here we have David forgiving sins because he should have been put to what? Death.
Right.
And we see that correlation there. Remember, David said, hey man, you are my bone, you are my flesh. Come and escort me. Come and escort me. Look at Luke 5.
Luke 5:24. But you may know that the Son of Man hath power upon earth to forgive sins. He said unto the sick of the palsy, I say unto thee, arise and take up thy couch and go into thine house.
The Son of Man has what?
Power to forgive sin.
Power to forgive sin. And we see a precursor, don't we, in King David. Because he should have been put to death. He said, ain't nobody being put to death. I'm the king over Israel. All right, 1 Samuel 13. So who is David again? Let's look at this. Who is David? 1 Samuel 13 and 14. This is who David is. We've got to be reminded sometimes. 1 Samuel 13 and 14. But now thy kingdom, this is Shmuel talking to Shaul or Saul. But now thy kingdom shall not continue. Yah hath sought him a man after his own heart. After his own heart. After his own heart. And Yah hath commanded him to be captain over his people, because thou hast not kept that which Yah commanded thee. So in 1 Samuel 13 and 14, David is described as having what? A heart like Yah. Now, he didn't say flesh, did he? He said a heart. So now we're talking about the inside. So when we start talking about the inside, you can start leaning more towards like spiritual, the ruach, on the inside. Outside, flesh. Okay? Put in your notes, Acts 13 and 22. Now let's turn to Colossians. Put in your notes, Acts 13, 22. Let's go back. Check that out. Colossians 2nd chapter. Colossians 2 and 16. It says, let no man therefore judge you in meat or drink or in respect of a holy day or a new moon or of a Sabbath day, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is a Mashiach. Let no man beguile you of your reward of voluntary humility, worshiping of angels, intruding into those things which have not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind, and not holding the head, from which all the body by joints and bands having nourishment, ministered and knit together, increase with the increase of God. Mashiach is described as the what part of the body? The head. So he supplies everything that the body needs. So when we're looking at David as being a shadow of who? Messiah. We're looking at David as trying to do what? He's trying to get the body together. do we see? He's trying to get the body to get the body's in disarray. And David, and we'll jump the gun. 2 Samuel 19. Going back, 2 Samuel 19. The body in disarray. And David is trying to be the head of the body. There's a problem. David a man, ain't he? Huh? He's a human being, ain't he? David's done some things of the flesh, right?
Dirt.
Right? Is this one of the reasons why all this stuff going on? Huh?
Yes, sir. What he said. Never, the sword never left his home. Ain't that what it said?
Hmm? So let's look at 19:22 again. And David said, "What have I to do with you, sons of Zeruiah, that you should be adversaries unto me, that there should be no man put to death this day in Israel? For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel?" Therefore the king said unto him, "Shimei, thou shalt not die." And the king sware unto him. Say, you're not going to die. Say, you're not going to die. Romans 13. 13 and 4. Romans 13 and 4, it reads, "For he is a minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Wherefore you must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. For this cause pay ye tribute also. For they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Owe no man anything but to love one another, but to love one another, but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law." A part of Messiah, or what Yahshua is going to do, is he's going to rule by the what? By the law, by the Torah. Right? Watch this. "For this thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. If there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law." What did David say to Shimei again? He said, you ain't going to die. What did he say to Amasa again? "Are you not my bone? Are you not my flesh? You try to kill me, but I love you. Come back to me." So we have the king saying, come back to me. Let's be unified. Let's be one. Let the body be back in order. Because the eye cannot say to the hand, I had no need of you. The head cannot say to the feet, I had no need of you. So David is trying to restore the body. But we read earlier in Romans that he said, man, blindness happened to Israel. So David's doing the right thing in not killing them and loving them and trying to restore the body. But he's doing it by what? Flesh. It's only so far he can go. You saw his general looked at him like he done lost his mind. He said, that man should be dead. Should be dead. Philippians 2. Wait a minute, I didn't finish that. I'm sorry. My bad. Go back to Romans. Go back. Romans 13. Verse 11, and that knowing the time, that is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness. Let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting, drunkenness, not chambering, wantonness, not strife, not envying, but put ye on Yahshua, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. Okay? Salvation is not cuddly, people. David, all this stuff going on, this is war. We went back a chapter, and these folks is fighting and killing each other within the body now. Within the body. Yeah, some of you need to take note. There's going to be fighting and killing within the body until someone comes and gets the body together. David tried. David said, hey, you're my flesh, you're my bone. You know what, you're right. We got the same flesh and bones of who? Adam. It's in the DNA to want to do me. It's in the DNA to want to, step all over you. Step all over you to get what I got to get. Remember, this is my king. I thought it was art. This is my king. You fast forward thousands of years later, same thing. Hey, we need each other. We need each other. Now turn to Philippians. Philippians 2 and 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as much in my presence, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. David is attempting to bring all the tribes of Israel together. Those that hated or betrayed him in Judah, right? Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bones. He's trying to bring together the 10 tribes of Israel. David is completely exposed. He chose to love. Because it offered your head, traitor, treason, stuff like that. He chose to love. He loved those that hated him and the ones who did not want him to be king. Does not sound familiar to somebody? There was somebody else with a lot more juice than David. The people did not want him to be their king. And he was anointed. And what did David's general say? You've cursed the Lord's anointed. You should die. So whatever thing was written aforetime, written for your learning, through the comfort and patience. So within the body, how much cursing of the Lord's anointed has went on? You got your apocrypha. Pull that out. 2nd Ezra 13. Somebody else give me 2nd Thessalonians 2 and 1. 2nd Thessalonians 2 and 1. Brother, give me 2nd Ezra 13, 12 through 13.
Second Thessalonians 2 and 1.
2 and 1. And then we got 2nd Ezra 13, 12 and 13.
Afterward I saw the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude.
He did what?
He called unto him another peaceable multitude.
So he came down and called all the people together. And then when David was making this journey back, all the people were doing what? Coming to him. Go ahead and finish.
And there came much people unto him,
Uh-huh.
whereof some were glad, some were sorry. Some of them were bound, and some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast shewed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer.
Stop right there. So we have all kind of people coming unto this man. Just like with David. Folks came to David. Some was like, look, I hadn't shaved since you left the throne room. I ain't shaved. I ain't washed my clothes until I knew you was coming back. You had some coming back real sorrowful. You had some coming back in fear. What for everything is written for your learning. And this is within the what? Body. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 1.
To the church, Paul, Silas, and Timothy, to the church of the Thessalonians, in God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
Grace and peace to you from God the Father and the Lord Jesus Christ.
2 Thessalonians 2.
Oh, my bad. of our Lord Jesus Christ,
Uh-huh.
and our being gathered to him.
And our what?
Being gathered to him.
And our what?
Being gathered to him.
Hold you got. Say what you say one more time. A what multitude? A peaceable multitude.
Yes.
2nd Ezra is 13 and 12. Read that again. And honey, hold it when you got it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. And he called unto him another peaceable multitude.
He called a peaceable multitude. Say it again now, Christina.
And our being gathered to him.
Gathered to him. When David came, they were gathered unto him. And a lot of them were not in a good fate. And you know what? You know what one of them said? Have mercy on me. So when that gathering comes in 2 Thessalonians 2:1, it ain't gonna be. It's not gonna be. Oh, the Lord's here. Folks gonna be like, have mercy on. How do we know? For everything was written aforetime, it's written for your learning.
Right.
The king was ran up out of Jerusalem. You won't believe what man did. They ran Yahshua out the earth. And then he gonna come back. And folks gonna be coming back looking real somber and sad. Some folks like, man, look, I've been fasting. I ain't ate nothing. So I've been waiting on you to come back. Folks gonna be, so just like there was a peaceable multitude coming unto this man who was kicking behind. So there's a problem. Flesh only sees flesh. So when you try to put the body together by the flesh, flesh only sees flesh. Look, they were so deep in the game, even David's closest men, they couldn't realize what David was doing. It's like, this man, like, you so messed up about Absalom, your mind ain't right. He trying to forgive and love everybody. He's been a traitor to the king. Flesh only see flesh. Job 10. Job 10. Flesh only see flesh. That's why we are instructed to walk by the what? So in order for us to be reconciled to him, it's going to be by the what? Not by the flesh. So once again, he going to say what Adam said, but the flesh and the bones, it's going to be like when he resurrected. Remember that? He said, feel me, touch me. Y'all got something to eat? You got something to eat, man? He's like, hey, you got something to eat? You got some fish? Feel me. And he said, and it's going to be flesh of my flesh. He going to say the exact same thing to us. He going to bring the people together. He will say, man, you my flesh. You my bones. Job 10 and 1. My soul is weary of life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Show me wherefore thou contends with me. Is it good unto thee that thou should oppress, that thou shouldest despise the work of thine hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Listen what Job says. Hast thou eyes of flesh? Hast thou eyes of flesh? Or seest thou as a man seeth? Listen what Job said now. Once again, Mr. Yeshua, man, he a bad man. Because he said, look, in the book is written to me. He said, as thou seen, he said, can you feel my pain? And you won't believe what Yeshua did. He said, it ain't no problem. I'll come down there. I'll be in the form and fashion like a man. I'll go through everything a man go through. So you know what he told Job? Yeah, I can, and I will. Hast thou eyes of flesh, or seest thou as a man? Are thy days as the days of man? Are thy years as man's days? That thou inquirest after mine iniquity, and searchest after my sin. Thou knowest that I am not wicked, and there is none that can deliver out of thine hand. See, Job's smart. Job knows what's going on. Can't nobody take it out of your hand. Thine hands have made me and fashioned me together round about, yet thou dost destroy me. You won't believe this. But he's going to take his bride of the church, wash her, and then present her to himself with his own hands. Are you washable? Right, you got to be in the body to get washed, though. Right, you can't be so much of a nuisance of the body that you ain't even there to get washed. Remember, I beseech thee, that thou made me as the clay, and thou wilt bring me into dust again. Hast thou now poured me out of the milk and curdled me as cheese? Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with the bones and sinews. What does that mean? He said, the way you made me, you ain't the same. He said, you made me from clay. I'm going to the dirt. You've clothed me with skin and flesh. Remember Adam said, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bones. The second man, he going to say the exact same thing to you. Job said, look, man, hey, I'm just a human. We ain't the same. But the book tells us that as he appears, shall we be like him? Cephas said that I got to take this tabernacle off. Right? The way the Lord showed me. I have another tent. A more glorious tent. Flesh of my flesh, bones of my bones. But you won't be a corrupted flesh. You'll be incorruptible. How he was when he got up and was with them for 40 days. That's going to be you. Job hitting the hammer on the nail. He said, I'm made from clay. I'm going to the dirt. You clothe me in skin and bones and flesh. But the plan of Yah, he's like, you're going to be just like me. Y'all, you are like that, Job. You're going to end up being just like me. I'm going to call you up from the dirt now. You're going to have a whole new tabernacle. Hope that set in. Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation hath preserved my spirit. And these things thou hast hid in thine heart. I know that this is with thee. If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from my iniquity. Remember, David told him, your sin is forgiven. The brother over here, he read Mark 2. He said, man, who can forgive sin? She read, the Son of Man can have the power on earth. The power where? On earth to do what? Forgive sin. If I be wicked, woe unto me. If I be righteous, yet will I not lift up my head. I am full of confusion. Therefore see thou mine affliction. That was Job 1:15. I will go back and read that chapter. Luke 16. Quick, Luke 16. Verse 27, we'll read all this. Verse 27, Luke 16. Then he said, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wilt send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify to them, that they also come into this place of torment. Abraham said unto him, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. He said, nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Though one rose from the dead, they still ain't going to listen. So the problem within the body has been going on for a long time. So flesh must be destroyed so the spirit can thrive. The flesh must be destroyed so the spirit can thrive. Been talking about it the last couple of weeks here, just regular talk and so on and so forth. It's been talked about quite a bit, okay, in Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but you must transform by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable in the perfect will of Elohim. The perfect will of Elohim. Put in your notes Psalm 51, 15 and through 19. Psalms 51, 15 and 19. I'll tell you what, we'll actually pick up with that. So we'll stop right there, and we'll pick up. We're gonna close out with David and the attempts via the flesh, and then we'll go on into the one who's gonna make us one, but he's gonna do it a different way. Right? He ain't gonna do. And what David did was right. Everything he was saying was right. The problem is that you're a bloody man. You can't build me a house. It's going to be hard for you to bring Israel together. Now, your son's hand, Israel will be together. And he can build me a house, but not your hands. But we know that David had a heart after Yah. But once again, flesh getting away. Flesh pulls us out. Once we've been talking about this, Yah put people in certain positions in the body. Now, whether or not they do their job, that fall on them. And David had some bad days of work. Amen. He had some bad days of work. You know what we do? We had bad days of work. On our walk, we had some bad days on our walk. Have mercy, we ain't in the position of David. But David tried. He said, hey, you're my flesh and my bones. Just come and escort me back. We're going to pick back up on the escort because I don't want to skip. I don't want to go fast through that because that's necessary for where we're going. So with that being said, we'll stop there. We'll pick up on that. Give all praise to Yah. All praise. And open up the word and making things clear for us. And as we are getting a understanding on the body of Christ, the body of Messiah, how long this process been going on, and that this is not nothing new. It's just something true, and that we all got a journey, and in the end, the body gonna be unified, and Christ gonna be the head, and the parts that don't belong, or the parts that just can't get washed, just ain't gonna be there. So, that being said, thank you. Peace and shalom.